What does it take to cultivate a powerhouse state of mind, especially in the face of adversity? In this episode, I had the privilege of sitting down with the dynamic Kristie Kennedy, author of Powerhouse State of Mind, to explore how women can build unshakable confidence, resilience, and mental strength. Kristie shares her wisdom on overcoming self-doubt, standing firm in your purpose, and embracing the mindset shifts necessary to break through life's toughest challenges. Her message is one of empowerment, reminding women that they have everything they need within them to rise, thrive, and lead. If you're ready to step into your powerhouse state of mind, then grab a notebook and pen and let's dive in. Hey friend, welcome to Integrative Medicine for Energy and Health. Are you struggling with low energy, excessive weight, chronic fatigue, imbalanced hormones, or body aches and pains that are robbing you of enjoying life? If you're ready to take the guesswork out of living a healthier life, you're in the right place. Hi, I'm Rekishia. I'm a mom, honorably retired Air Force veteran, award-winning author, social worker, and Christian alternative medicine provider. For years, I tried improving my health through conventional medicine and nothing worked until I finally found a simple strategy that was easy and fun. This podcast will provide you with natural ways to increase energy, lose weight, regulate hormones, and improve your mood. If you're ready to live, look, and feel better, grab your favorite cup of herbal tea and let's jump in. Welcome back to Integrative Medicine for Energy and Health. If you're new here, I'm your host, Rekishia McMillan, and I am so glad that you're joining us. This month, we're celebrating women who are making history in their communities with a powerful message of health for the body, soul, and spirit. Today, I have a very special guest, Kristie Kennedy. She's the author of Powerhouse State of Mind, and she's here to share how women can develop a resilient powerhouse mindset in the face of adversity. Friend, if you're feeling stuck, overwhelmed, or ready to break through to the next level in your life, this episode is for you. So get ready to be inspired, empowered, and equipped for your own powerhouse journey. Well, hello, everyone, and welcome to Integrative Medicine for Energy and Health. I'm your host, Rekishia McMillan, and we are continuing the journey as we are celebrating Women's History Month. And what better way to celebrate with one of my favorite people that I have had the blessing, the privilege, the honor of knowing our guest speaker today, who is the fabulous Kristie Kennedy. I met her initially through a podcast about maybe 5 or 6 years ago. And ever since that first connection, God has just connected us in a very special way. And I am so honored to be able to host her today. And for those of you that are new to Kristie, I just want to share a little bit about her before we get into today's episode. And so Kristie Kennedy, she is the image confidence expert. She's a TEDx Audacious Leadership role model. She's a key speaker. She's an authentic lifestyle author. And as the owner of Queenfidence Global Image Consulting, she specializes in 4 areas of peak performance: mindset, mastery, massive momentum, magnetic messaging, and potential maximization. You can visit Kristie at queenfidence.com. So I am elated, thrilled, overjoyed to have you with us today, Kristie. So welcome to the show.
Hello, my friend. Oh my gosh, I was in here bubbling. I am so ready to dive into our conversation today. Thank you for having me.
Again, I'm honored to have you, and just thinking about, how our relationship has evolved over the years. It is truly divine connection that has brought us together and continuing to maintain that relationship.
It's the beauty of iron sharpening iron. And you know it's divine when it's effortless. It has been such a beautiful joy getting to know you, your mother, your family. Oh my heavens. And from the prayers, learning about your lifestyle, your commitment to prayer, it is so inspiring for me as a woman of faith.
Mm-hmm.
And just to be able to see, like you and I are almost polar opposites. You're so calm, cool, collected. I'm just like, but I gained so much just from your disposition. And so I'm grateful for that peaceful disposition because it is calming. And I just want you to know that's a superpower.
Hmm. And you know, the interesting thing is I've been like this since I was a child, Kristie. My mother, she tells me from time to time that I have had the patience of a rock.
My goodness.
And just that calming effect, being patient with other people. And I never knew how much that would serve me later on in life. And when I look at whether it's relationships, endeavors that I'm moving forward in, it has truly served me in many, many ways. So I appreciate you for that. And thank you so much.
And I'm wondering too, because military background, you talking
Mhm.
about serving you well, being
Oh,
able to be calm under pressure. How did that show up in that space?
oh, yeah. You know, the military places you in many environments and stretches you in so many ways that you never thought possible. And so having a cool or a level head, that is one of the first components that they teach us about when we're going through basic training because we are put in so many pressure situations, and to be able to have a level mind, to be clear, to think things through in a calm manner is necessary because it not only depends on your safety and security, but the safety and security of those who you serve with in your entire unit. So that is definitely something that I learned from that military foundation.
You know, and you can use that in every part of your life. I love that though. Not just you, but so many others depending on you. And to me, that's the heart of leadership.
No, definitely, definitely. So everyone and everything we are connected to is impacted by the decisions and the choices, that we make. And so it has to do with mindset, which is a perfect segue into what we're going to be talking about today. I was so excited to see that God has blessed you to publish another book. I thoroughly enjoyed your first book, Queenfidence. Now, the second chapter, so to speak, has come forth with your book, Powerhouse State of Mind. And I know when I first saw you share it on your social media platforms, I saw the cover and I'm like, this is a must have book in my life. I need this. And I was able to bless to receive that copy from you. And as I have just been going through the book, gleaning just the wisdom. And for those of you that have never read Kristie's writings before, she is highly anointed as a wordsmith. God has just given her the ability to be creative in her language that touches you in such a way that will heighten your perspective. It gives you different views of something that you may not have seen before. And so, how did this Powerhouse State of Mind book evolve, Kristie? Kind of share with our listeners, where did this all begin?
You know, as I was mentioning prior to us hitting record, I remember being in sixth grade. And for me, that was a pivotal moment in time because my sixth grade teacher, she gave us that black and white me journal. Now, during the time of my life, I had no idea how to manage all these emotions I was feeling because my mother and my father, they were constantly fighting. And normally what would happen, Rekishia, is I would run to the next door neighbor's house. And I honestly believe that's where the open door came in with me really battling fear because I noticed like, patterns show up in our lives. And every time something felt challenging, I noticed I would run away. But it started with watching mom and dad fight. And when she gave me that black and white me journal, because I'm an only child, I started writing it, and I was having suicidal ideations during that time. I was in a dark place emotionally, mentally. Who do you talk to? I had no siblings, but that journal, I could write all of my emotions, what I was feeling in that journal. And I tell people, my first language is writing. I wish I could articulate my thoughts like I do with the pen and paper. That pen and paper have been my best friend,
Mm-hmm.
for so long. And so I feel very comfortable in that space, and especially as an introvert. So where I started, honestly, that was the moment in time where I fell in love with pen and paper.
I love that. Something that you hit on, Kristie, is that you said that when you found yourself in situations, whether that was confrontational, that you ran away and you were able to trace that back to your childhood and in the environment that you grew up in. And so many times we may not realize that our childhood impacts us in our adulthood as women. And so when we begin to look at these patterns of why am I doing this? Why am I moving or operating in this way? We have to kind of go back before we can go forward. And so for you, being able to write in that therapeutic um, journaling process, so to speak, to really process your feelings, process your emotions, helped you to really understand the patterns and where that came from.
I believe it's so critical. And you think about the society that we live in, everything is all about move fast, move fasting. And now we're on AI.
Mm,
It's getting faster. And if one does not take the time to slow down, what they will see is cyclical behavior. And I
mm,
know for me, we've heard the old adage, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired, and that's where I was. And I started searching within. I had to understand, who am I? That was one of the first questions I asked myself. Who am I? Not what society has said about Kristie. You get all these labels. I
mm,
wasn't good in school, so I was labeled, right, unintelligent. I had all these bad relationships. So I'm not attractive. All the things, you start creating this internal narrative. And I had to challenge all those falsehoods, all the stories that were keeping me stuck inside of myself and often undermining my own potential.
mm. And so when you I had to ask yourself that question, Kristie, who am I? Where did that start for you? Where did that start as far as understanding this is who I am?
Mm. I can specifically remember 1997. It was October. And going back to patterns, I was trying to numb the pain, and I share about it in the book. All the pain from the wrong choices in a partner, and you going back to running away, not facing it.
Mhm.
There's fear in there because I have to look at myself. I have to see all the ugly. When I was 17, I lost my virginity and I decided to have an abortion. And for so many years, because of the shame, I would not talk about it. Right. So I'm in my own prison. And I knew I had to get free from that. And I ended up going on a fast. But going back to 1997, I was at the airport. So I was trying to numb the pain with alcohol. I was smoking marijuana. So I'm high and I'm drunk at the time. And we're going to a party. And I'm talking to a shoe shaman. And I talked to the shaman. He asked me two questions. I think that's why I fell in love with coaching, the power of questions, because that's the heart and the essence of what we do as coaches. But he asked me, he said, "Are you happy? And are you exercising your gifts?" I could not answer yes to either of those questions. And Rekishia, I kid you not, I sat there weeping with my shades on because I didn't want anybody to see. My eyes were bloodshot red. I began to weep and I started singing. Now, normally I would not sing in front of anybody, let alone a stranger. But
Mhm.
when I would sing, because I sing and speak and write all the things, But I would be in my apartment and I would look out the peephole, going back to being a prisoner of fear. I would look out the peephole, make sure no one's around outside my apartment before I even sang in my own home. So that lets you know how difficult it was and how much I was battling with the spirit of fear. So it was that night. I told my friends, I can't go to the party. I can't go to Miami. I'm going home. I just kept saying, that man knows God. And it was really God pulling me in. Like, okay, you've had enough of this crazy life. That was like the prodigal daughter. It's time to come back home.
Wow, God has a way of sending those people across our path to tell us and to speak to us those very words we need to hear. Who would have thought it would be a shoe shine man asking you those thought provoking questions to challenge you to say, are you happy? Are you fulfilling your purpose? Are you where you really need to be in life? And it takes that honest truth with where we're at to say, I'm not where I need to be, and to really trust God to show us where we need to be. So that was your moment when the question of who am I came into being. And so that led you on your journey of discovery.
Yes, absolutely. So if I'm not happy with myself, who am I? If I'm going to create her, a version of me that I would fall in love with. When I look in the mirror, I am happy with the reflection looking back at me with my choices. And I'm not talking about perfection because I remember my dad putting a seed in my mind. I remember learning how to ride the bicycle and I would fall. When you learn to ride the bicycle, you're going to fall. You're learning and I would get scars. My knees would get scarred, and I still have them to this day. But he said something. He said, "How can you be a model with scars?" So
Mm,
I took that all those years, not knowing, but going back to when I asked, "Who am I?" I often say now, imperfection is my superpower. People don't understand the power of words. They are seeds and they will germinate, they will blossom, and you'll be believing in your subconscious mind something that you aren't even aware of. And so
mhm,
I was plucking up anything that looked like a lie, sounded like a lie, that was a lie. And then confronted it. And that's why I teach people the tools on how to challenge what we call thinking traps. They're just
mm,
unsupportive, unproductive, disempowering thoughts that keep us from moving forward oftentimes.
mhm. And as you shared, Christy, there are things that may have been spoken of our lives and how we internalize those as children. There are times when we take that literally,
Yeah.
literally. And so we live that out unknowingly, and those patterns show up in our everyday lives.
Show up because research shows 85% of our decisions are influenced by the subconscious mind.
Mm,
And once again, if we don't take time to slow down, sit still,
mm,
and really listen and face it,
mm,
whatever is going to show up. I had many clients tell me, I don't like to be alone with myself. That's a problem
mm,
because how will you uproot it? We
right.
want to listen to all these external voices, and it's good. It only takes you but so far. But you have to be able to cultivate what's on the inside of you and uproot anything that is going to choke the life out of the beautiful garden of potential that's waiting for you to do the work.
Mhm. So, for those women that are listening, Christy, and you're talking about uprooting those things from your garden. So, how can a woman do that if she needs to uproot some of those things that are in her garden that are choking the life out of the beautiful flowers, those things that are meant to flourish? What are some of the things that she can do?
Mm. One, I believe it's important to have a safe space to be able to talk it out. So depending on, how much initiative she has, some women may need more support than others. And then depending on their background, how much trauma they've experienced. For a long time, I did my own personal work, but realized it was okay to sit down with somebody else because going back to just the power of unity, the strength that we get together, uniting as powerful forces. And I had the mentality, if it's to be, it's up to me. You know, I'm an entrepreneur, I'm a pioneer. So we don't wait for others, right? So
Yeah.
I had to even reframe for myself. So I would advocate for someone because I've experienced it now, having whether it be a therapist, a counselor, depending on what specific area of challenge they're experiencing in their own life, and going
Mhm.
back to what feels most aligned for them. I would advocate for them doing journaling.
Mm.
Hands down, it's so cathartic, it's healing. It allows you to recognize your own thought patterns in the moment, and then even coming back to it when you're in a different headspace to see how you're thinking and how these thoughts, are they familiar patterns? Do you want to keep these patterns, or do you want to disrupt them and
Mm.
change them?
Yeah.
Because we don't even realize some, let's just say a woman is not happy with her figure, and she starts journaling about it, and she's noticing, okay, for the past 3 weeks I've noticed I'm just constantly writing about my weight and how unhappy I am. How is that affecting my relationship? So she goes deeper. It's affecting my relationship because I said I want to ultimately marry someone. But if
Mhm.
I don't like myself, then I'm closed off, I'm guarded, I don't allow someone to come in to see who I am fully. So
Mhm.
that's how she gets to understand her own thoughts. But it's the power of questioning and keep asking those questions based on what you just revealed to yourself. And it
Mhm.
gives us so much power because it allows us to be honest with where we are, what we're experiencing, and it validates us. Self validation is so powerful. We don't
Mhm.
have to look for it outside. You know, it's nice to have it, but what if you don't get it? And if you're a leader, it may be very far and few between. So I believe it's so important to cultivate this practice so you can validate, empower yourself, and it allows you to keep moving forward and keep being progressive on a daily basis.
Mhm. Now, I like how you shared that towards the end, Christy, that on a daily basis, this is something that we have to do and able to cultivate our gardens to whether it's speaking with someone, whether that's journaling, being honest with where we're at in our feelings. And so, what are some of the things that you do personally to keep your garden blossoming and growing and thriving in your daily life?
Listen, I am team extreme. I do it all. I personally, just because I'm a creative, I love variety. And I think it's important because one, you can easily fall into a pattern of monotony. It's like, oh, it's just journaling. So I love switching up ways. I have this new box I just picked up. It's a set of 48 cards: reset, relax, repeat. That's what I'm doing now. I pull out a card, just read it out loud for you. So this card says practice self-compassion. And then on the back, today's reflection. So at the end of the day, reflecting. I have all types of journals. When I talk about variety, having a variety of journals. Sometimes I use my coloring journal, and where I color and I paint pictures of my emotions. Sometimes I don't know if you ever been in a place where you're going through something very difficult and emotionally excruciating, and it's hard to find the words for it. That's the time I would color. I
Mm.
even have like coloring books. I have a huge coloring book. So when I want to let the inner child play, I just color, the princess. Nature, I'm typically in nature daily because I do have a dog, so that helps me get out. But I love going to different parks. We go to different parks every
Mhm.
other day, so it's not the same park. And every time I go, I see something different, and that's a tool. Notice what you haven't noticed before, especially if you go somewhere that's familiar. That's a way to always keep your eyes open. Like a child can take a rock and they can start painting it and create Mr. Rockman.
Exactly. No, I love that you added that in there, Christy, as far as being creative and having a variety of different things to help to spark that, whether it's your inner child, that motivation that you need to, again, go forward and to nurture the soul part of you.
Yeah, and it's a lifestyle. It is a lifestyle. As an example, my calendar here, today's March 6th. Today I will block out unpleasant memories. So there's always some type of cue. I'm
Mm,
surrounded by 31 vision boards. I created this powerhouse state of mind. That's my best state of mind in those vision boards. So
mm,
when I come in this home office, that's what I'm looking at. They
yeah.
tell me how I think, not my feelings, because my feelings would like to just chill out all day, right? I am an adult. We have things to accomplish. Now we're gonna intentionally put ourselves back in that powerhouse state of mind. You asked me what I do, then my essential oil. Right now I'm on patchouli. I love patchouli. It is relaxing, it's calming. And I need that because I have so much energy. I really have to bring it in and focus it, because if not, I'll be all over the place. So
Right.
patchouli calms Kristie down.
So, so good. So, so good. And so, as you were writing The Powerhouse State of Mind, what was your favorite part of the book, Kristie, or is there anything that just stands out the most for you within this work?
Mm, the tools. And I love this question because I hadn't thought about it, but when you said that, the tools, I ended the book with the tools, because
Mhm,
there's one part of, one aspect of me sharing my experiences.
mhm.
So helping people understand how I think as a thought leader, how
Yeah.
I how I have been influenced by my experiences, where the powerhouse state of mind emerged from. But I would tell clients every single time, the power is in the tools. Yeah.
Mm,
I People don't know that I deal with social anxiety, especially as an introvert, but there's tools that help me to open up, right?
mm,
Because I told you I will live in a book and a journal if you let me. But I'm a leader, and leadership requires that you communicate frequently. And
right.
so I had to learn how to integrate my lifestyle in my work style.
Mm,
Because if I have been engaging a lot with people and I'm peopled out, I need to be able to quickly recharge. And that looks different in every single scenario in each day. Like,
mm,
what do I need today? I'm constantly asking, what do I need in this moment? So
right.
their check-ins are really powerful, but the tools, absolutely my favorite, the affirmations, because I live by affirmations. And
Right.
that's one way that you continue to empower yourself, by
Mm.
being able to affirm yourself.
Yeah, I know I especially love the book. Just going through each chapter. At the end of each chapter, you have the powerhouse mindset in motion, which really helps you to kind of really meditate on what you've read, but then you're writing out some applications of how you're going to implement those things, and then the progressive work part of it. And so it again gives you a little bit of homework after each chapter. And so for those of you that are listening and want to be able to get the Power State House of Mind book, Kristie, where can they find this book? How can they get it into their hands?
Yes, dash on over to Amazon.com. Powerhouse State of Mind is right there for you.
The everything store.
Seriously.
Wonderful. And so, another part of the book that you had at the end of each chapter, if you have an in this moment section. So, can you share a little bit about in this moment and what really kind of sparked that idea to include this at the end of each chapter?
Hmm. I can't tell you how many times, Rekishia, I have said mastery is in the moment. Because
Mm,
many of my clients would tell me, when we talk about the tools in session, and then they go out into their real lives and they say, "Oh man, I didn't do it. I didn't. It was that moment. It was in the moment." Like, let's say they're trying to conquer anger, and they don't want to have an outburst. And I just had the outburst. And I know we talked about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, calm down, a breath work to self-regulate. But in the moment, I didn't do it. And so it's just one of those little gentle nudges, like in the moment, remember, you have power in this moment. Sometimes we feel powerless, but we
Mm-hmm.
have power to choose. And to me, that was so eye-opening. That was one of the first things I learned when I began to be certified as a coach. When my first certifying trainer told me about the power of our states, our mental state, that we could change them. As someone who's lived through depression,
Mm.
that unlocked something inside of me that put me on this path that if I'm having an off day internally, I have the power to change my internal state, and I
Yeah.
can do whatever I need to do to change it. Sometimes, Rekishia, I will change outfits. If I am off, like I have on black right now, I will go and let's just say I'll choose red because I'm like, I'm going to be fired up. I'm a powerhouse speaker. I'm a powerhouse thought leader. It's a
Mm.
brand new day right in this moment. But
Mm.
because if you're not aware of tools, you won't be able to shift. And oftentimes individuals suffer from rigid thinking. But when you learn to be flexible in your thinking, that's when you can get out of those states more readily.
Mm. And that's so good because I think in this time that really knowing that you can change your state of mind, because as you shared, Christy, there's so many people who are going through depression right now. They are going through anxiety right now. They're being bombarded with whether it's challenges personally in their finances, home, life. But we can, in a sense, create a state of being incubated, right, to guard our minds and to really get into that state. And as you shared, whatever you have to do, if it's change an outfit, if it's really focusing on your environment, the vision boards, those things that are really going to help channel or move your mindset into a positive direction.
Move your mindset in a positive direction. You hit it on the head. Mm, that's powerhouse, baby.
The powerhouse state of mind. And so I've just been really encouraged again as I have been going through this book. This is a book that I'm going to make this a part of my yearly reading because usually at the beginning of every year, I will set aside certain books, and there are certain ones that I do every single year because I see things differently than I did previously. This is definitely going to be one of those books that I have at the forefront of my personal and professional development.
Honor. What an honor. And that's exactly why I write, Rekishia. What has blessed me, blesses others. And one of my favorite passages is, do you love me? Jesus asked, and if you love me, feed my sheep. And that's all I want to do is feed as many as I can with what has helped me.
Mm, that's so good. And one of the questions that you did ask in the book that I absolutely love, you said, who will you decide to be in the next chapter of your life? We have the decision of whether we're going to be, as you shared, invisible or invincible, lazy or diligent, kind hearted or mean spirited, courageous or cowardice, silent or outspoken, average or extraordinary, powerful or powerless, optimistic or pessimistic, leader or follower. And so we have to make a decision. Who am I going to show up to be? And then once you make that decision, what is it that you're going to do to get there? Mhm. What is it that you're going to do to get there? And so I just really love that because, again, that's a question that we all need to ask ourselves. And you talked about having that ability to create her or create that version of that woman that you see yourself being so that when you see her in the mirror every morning that you will fall in love with her and that she will be exactly that person that you want to have in your life.
Oh yeah. You choked me up just reflecting those words back. This
Mm,
is this has been the journey, over 30 years, and enjoy the journey. It's what makes us us, what
mm,
makes us so special. When we do fall in love with ourselves, we we benefit from the transformation, but more importantly, others.
mm,
They get to experience it, they get to be inspired. And for me, it's knowing that my pain was not in vain.
Mm,
all the challenges, that they serve a higher purpose. And to give that gift away, I will do it over and over and over and over as many times as I have the strength to do.
mm,
That's what makes it priceless.
that's powerful. And, I was having a conversation with a young lady this week, and we were talking about transformation and going through the process, Christy. And sometimes it can be challenging because we don't want to go through the process. But imagine the price of not going through the process,
Mhm.
right? The many lives that will not be reached, or even personally, the transformation that won't take place in our own lives. And so, as you shared, it's daily work, that we're going to continue this daily work until we go home to be with Jesus. It is
Yeah.
daily work. And it's something that we have to, again, always have at the forefront of our mind to move into that space of being the woman that God has called us to be.
Yeah. Fearfully and wonderfully made.
Hmm. And so, are there any parting words, Christy, that you would like to share with the women who are listening regarding whether it's the Powerhouse State of Mind book or anything that's on your heart?
Mm. It is possible. It's one of my affirmations. All things are possible to those who believe, and it starts with us believing. I had to learn how to believe that I could be loved. That belief ultimately led me to meeting my husband when I didn't believe that a man could love me because of my sordid past. It was belief that allowed me to move into a home and pay it off 12 years early before I did not believe it was possible. And so, if I could leave you with anything, never stop believing. Never stop believing in the beauty of your dreams. I have 31 vision boards for a reason because I want to be limitless in what's possible, what
Mhm.
I can experience. And if we keep feeding the right beliefs, our most powerful beliefs, no matter what the outside world is yelling at us on a bullhorn,
Mhm.
if we continue to believe, we can create a life that mesmerizes us,
Hmm.
that fascinates us. And so when you're inspired, you're on fire. And when you're on fire, you blaze a trail and you start torching everything that's around you. And that's what I want to do. I want to set so many people on fire. I can't even count.
Hmm.
Wherever I go, catch this fire.
Yes. And so, for ladies, those of you that are listening and you are looking to build your belief that Christy is sharing on today, I highly encourage you to get her book, Powerhouse State of Mind. It will give you the keys to confidence, to elevate, expand, and embody that executive presence that Christy has been so gracefully and beautifully sharing with us on today. And so, Christy, it has been my absolute pleasure to host you on the show today, my sister, friend. It's just been amazing.
You're a joy and a delight to talk with.
Oh, well, God bless you, Christy, and I pray that God will continue to bless the work of your hands and all that you do. And again, many, many blessings to you. And thank you so much for being my special guest today.
Oh, I love you.
God bless you. What an incredible conversation with Kristie Kennedy. I hope you're feeling encouraged to step into your own power and embrace a mindset of resilience and confidence. If you want to connect with Kristie and learn more about her work, you can visit her website at queenfidence.com and order a copy of her latest book, Powerhouse State of Mind, on Amazon. And don't forget, this entire month, we're featuring extraordinary women who are making an impact in their communities through health and empowerment. Be sure to subscribe so that you don't miss out. Until next time, take care of your body, nourish your soul, and elevate your spirit. I'll see you in the next episode. I'll leave you with Romans chapter 12, verse number 2. Do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind, that by testing you may discern what is the will of God, what is good and acceptable and perfect. Hey friend, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If so, would you take 30 seconds and share it with a friend who may want to have more energy and improve their health naturally? Also, I would love it if you could leave a quick review for the show on Apple Podcasts. It blesses me tremendously to know that this podcast is helping you. Alrighty then, it's time to go make a protein shake and go for a hike. No more days of feeling tired and drained. I'll see you in a few days for another episode. God bless.